Hey, it's Clay at clayjarrow.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, August 10th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple clarification points. Number one, the market is still open for a little bit of time, so the price you see over here will be changing around, and the candlestick you see right there will be moving around. Again, that is because the market's still open, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late-day price movement. And then next, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame. So for beginners out there, what that means is each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, ticker symbol HLBZ, did this analysis in yesterday's video, and you can see that this trend line right here was indeed broken, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that as it served its purpose for now. But now the very interesting dynamic is occurring right before our very eyes, which again is why I like to do these when the market's still open. But I talked about that green line in yesterday's video, and you can see now the price is actually pushed down below that area of support right there at about $1.40, which brings up a big question headed into Wednesday. What exactly is going to happen with that level? Now, think about the philosophy of a watch list. It's to find unique, to find interesting situations, and not to just randomly rush out and buy them, but to watch them, see how they behave. So if you are somebody that likes to play pullbacks and you're looking for a unique situation when it comes to the pullbacks, here you go, you have that right there. Again, nobody knows the future, but what we do know is that this is going to be a very highly watched level because this was the former breakout point. And like I said in yesterday's video, this $1.40 mark was that level of support. And so far, so good. As I speak, you can see that the price is trying to bottom out here. So by the time you watch this, you're going to have a better idea of what's going to, what's occurred at that level. But that doesn't change the fact that $1.40 certainly going to be a very highly watched level headed into Wednesday. And then as far as levels of resistance are concerned, the dynamic here to keep a close eye on is going to be that resistance level right there. Let's actually change that to red to represent more so the resistance. So you want to keep a close eye on that if there is any sort of attempted turnaround. But yeah, definitely a lot of interesting dynamics here. Next, ticker symbol AMC, and this one had a further pullback today. And now that we have more data, I'm actually just going to get rid of that line because I think, in my mind, the level, it just makes the most sense. And I probably should have stuck with it yesterday just to keep things extra simple and no pun intended. But to keep things simple by focusing on that purple line there, which is the 50-period simple moving average. And that's one of those levels where even if you have a basic understanding of charts, I'm sure you've heard of that level. And so far, so good. It's got a nice upward slope to it, and the price is staying above it, so that's a good sign. Now, on the pullback front, yeah, the price did sink down further today. But that's all a matter of perspective, meaning when you take a step back, and actually let me do this. When you take a step back and look at multiple days, you can see this thing is still very much so trending upward. So yeah, I get it. The past couple of days, the price has pulled back, but overall, the trend is perfectly fine. I'm going to go ahead and extend this level out because that still remains a key level of resistance. So assuming you did watch yesterday's video, then nothing has changed from that regard. That trend line there remains a key area of resistance. But I think the biggest dynamic from what I'm seeing out there is people have to determine what their game plan going in was. If your game plan was a day trader and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, yeah, then the chart got way worse for you today. But assuming you care about the big picture point of view, sure, the price pulled back, but overall the trend is still plenty in the upwards direction. Next one, ticker symbol ENDP, and this one got just absolutely destroyed today. Had the rough gap down, and then after the gap down, just continue to bleed and bleed and bleed. Now this thing is trying to level off down here, so maybe, just maybe, there's some sort of bottom here that's trying to form, but you also want to proceed very skeptically because, yeah, there is very clearly a lot of downwards pressure after today. Now, to be fair, yeah, maybe this is some sort of bottom, which is where the first key level comes into play as far as supports are concerned. Maybe the buyers and the sellers are finally done, and the bulls have established control back down there at 37 cents because you can see on about 3 separate occasions the price did try to push down through there, but the bulls did hold strong. Again, does that mean this is guaranteed to be the bottom? Of course not, no guarantees. But it is a situation where you can sit there and say, okay, well, maybe it at least makes sense now to think that this is some sort of bottom. But that is certainly why risk management matters, because that is a two-sided coin. Maybe it's not, and you don't want to get captured in any sort of continued nasty downside momentum. But if this thing is going to continue to bounce in the upwards direction, then that first key level to watch closely on any sort of attempted bounce is right up there at the 42.5-cent mark. Let me make sure I'm getting that right. Yeah, 42.5 cents, next key level if this bounce is going to continue. And the next main level after that would be the pink line up there, the 200-period moving average, but that's still quite a bit of ways away. Let's just see what happens in regards to this channel moving forward. So that's really going to be the main pattern moving forward, is the sideways channel and seeing who ultimately can push through, whether it be the bulls or the bears. Next one, BBBY, and did this one also in yesterday's video. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level. I could turn that into an area of resistance, but what I want to do is just actually extend this line out that I drew in yesterday's video, because you can see that right now the price is actually getting very close to knocking on the door, which goes back to that original talking point of the idea of a watch list is not to just randomly buy things, but to find those unique and interesting situations. And this is something where I would definitely consider that a very unique situation where you can throw out the question, hey, is a breakout about to show up? I mean, again, to be fair, maybe it's not. Maybe this thing just gets rejected and goes back down. But as I mentioned, it is a two-sided coin. So, well, maybe it is. And maybe this thing's getting ready to make another big move to the upside. Nobody knows that. But what everybody can agree on, which introduces the idea of self-fulfilling prophecies, is that this is a unique situation. This is a very, interesting trend line here. So we'll have to see if the price can indeed actually get a push up through it. If it doesn't and the price pulls back some more, key level of support will be that gap close location at $8.30. So we want to keep a close eye on that. But in my opinion, at least the most interesting dynamic is all about that trend line and whether or not the price can push through it. Next one here, penny stock TTOO, which was an absolute disaster today. Started off so nice. And I mean, this one got some people here because it came up, came back down, was looking like a nice bull flag pattern, and then right there broke that lower trend line. And this is why you want to have stop losses, because it's never really looked back. So as far as that bull flag is concerned, was a beautiful pattern, so I completely understand if that's what you're looking at. But going back to the comment I made earlier about risk management, you got to have that, because there's a good example of where a bull flag just didn't quite work out. But now we are introduced to a different situation. This is, well, do you think that this thing can pull back some more and get a little bit more ugly, which makes down here at 11.5 cents a very interesting situation. So if you like to play double bottoms, and if you like to play scenarios where you think a bunch of people are giving up, so people are just going to wave the white flag right at this former bounce point, then last time it was down there, a nice bounce did happen. Does that mean for sure guaranteed another nice bounce is going to happen? If only trading were that easy. But no, that's not how it works. However, is it at least valid? Is it at least a rational thought that could bounce? Absolutely. So keep an eye on that 11.5 cents mark if you do like to play these situations where things are looking pretty ugly, but there can be opportunity in the ugly. Real quickly, wanted to pause and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online trading that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency as a trader and why it's so powerful, then certainly get signed up for the free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying yourself and what you've seen, then certainly get signed up for the free live training. Next stock, PLTR, did this one in yesterday's video and had these green levels of support. And I just point that out because that really shows how rough of a day it was where the price came down here. And not only broke that level of support, then just shattered that level of support too. So the bearishness continues for sure. Going to go ahead and get rid of that level there and just make the first update. And this update is based on a foundation rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So right there, if there is any sort of continued bounce, $9.40 is going to be that main area of resistance. And yeah, I do want to give some credit where credit's due. Late day, there has been a nice little bounce here. But like I said on a previous chart, you want to be skeptical about it because there is still overall a lot of downwards pressure that's shown up. So you don't want to go throw the kids' college tuition quite yet. Yes, it's bounced, but you don't want to get too excited about it. And then as far as levels of support are concerned, nothing fancy or complicated here. Literally just a question of where did the price finally find some support today in buyers, and that was down there at the $9 mark. So keep an eye on 9. Now, if the price rolls back over and breaks through 9, at that point, things are going to be looking very, very ugly, but we'll just have to see how things continue to play out on the week. Next one here, AERC, and this goes definitely to the whole idea of a watch list, unique, interesting situations. And this one you can see, interesting, nothing at all was going on earlier in the day. You can see down here, essentially no volume, and then all of a sudden this afternoon, the volume came pouring in. The price actually exploded upwards, which brings to what is seemingly a very basic question, but powerful when you think about it, and that is this the start of something bigger? Now, nobody knows that, but now think about what's had to happen in order for me to even be able to ask that question. There has to have been explosive. There has to have been very interesting, very unique circumstances, and this down here definitely qualifies as very interesting and unique. Volume explodes, price explodes. As I've said, but I'm going to say it again, it is a two-sided coin. Maybe this isn't the start of anything bigger. Maybe this is just a one-day thing and it rolls right back over. Completely possible. But that is got, the other side, and the other side of the coin is, well, maybe it is. Maybe it is the start of something bigger, and this thing just keeps ripping and roaring over the next couple of days. So as far as unique and interesting situations, AERC definitely fits that bill. Next one here, MRSN, and this is on the watch list for one very simple reason, a very well-defined pattern. So as I draw this pattern, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply this is some sort of great secret discovery on my part. I assure you people around the world have drawn this pattern. And I make all those comments because when people are watching the same things and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can certainly produce some very dynamic movements, and that's what we have here. So we have our resistance breakout point right here. We have our green support down there. And to make this maybe a little bit easier to see, let's make it all one color and the same color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big momentum move right there. And for you golfers out there, make it more visual, put the golf hole down here. This would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So if you like to play bull pennant patterns, if you like to play stocks down below the $10 mark, then look no further than this one. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. Very, very rough day on this one. Broke through both those levels of support, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. But the first update that definitely needs to be made, and this just, talk about a classic example of technical analysis, but this 857 mark, as I mentioned earlier, when supports are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance, and that is exactly what played out here. So the price broke down below that level, and then check it out. This afternoon, notice how the price bounced upwards, and surprise, surprise, got rejected right at that red line. So I'm not saying that that price can never be broken again. I'm just saying it makes sense why the price is struggling at that level. So you're going to want to keep a close eye there on 857, 858, right around there, if there is any sort of continued bounce in the upwards direction. As far as levels of support are concerned, and as someone that trades Tesla very, very closely and watches it all the time, right down here, at that level, which sits at $840, is going to be a very important level and a very watched level, because essentially right now, potential double bottom. You have bottom one there, bottom there two, but if this does roll back over, then at that point it becomes a very plausible, suggestion of, okay, the double bottom failed. Is this thing about to get another big surge of bearish pressure? So you'll definitely want to keep an eye on that location of the chart also. Next one, AMD, and the pullback here continues. Although, what I like about this one, and again, there's still a lot more work that needs to be done, so don't get me wrong, but this is a nice little upwards channel here that is forming. So you got to give credit where credit's due, and the channel is also starting to form right above that 200 period moving average, the line right there, which is helpful. But I can also see, because I can hear it right now, but Clay, if you show the downwards momentum right there, all that you actually have is a bear flag pattern, which is 100% true, which circles back to the point I know I've said a couple times. Yes, this is bouncing. There's no doubt about that. Yes, there is an upwards channel. Nobody can argue against that. However, it is actually occurring within a broader bear flag pattern. Now, that does not mean just because something's bearish that the price is for sure going to go downwards. All I'm saying is just be skeptical and be a little aware of it. But I just like the fact that it's actually occurred up above that 200 period moving average. So that means that, of course, nothing's guaranteed, but I think it gives this upwards channel a little bit more strength that could come through it. But as always, and I know I've said, and we'll end with that, but you got to manage risk, because if this thing does decide to roll back over and break through the bear flag pattern, you don't want to get stuck in any sort of nasty downwards move. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used as a trader to build consistency, then certainly get signed up for the free training. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, August 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you'd like for me to continue to make these videos, then please do a couple things for me. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment below. Even if it's just saying hi, tell me what you traded today, give me a smiley face emoji. But those two things communicate to me that you enjoy. As long as I know people are enjoying, I will continue to do these videos. So again, get signed up for that free training, hit that like button, leave a simple comment below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care and have a good one.